Thank you very much for coming to our campaign briefing this afternoon. It's really just an informal chance for us to let people in London know exactly what we're trying to do and how they can get involved and how they can help as well. Just to give you the background, there are an estimated 15 million potential voters in Malaysia. Of those, only 11 million are registered. And it's estimated there are between 700,000 to 1 million Malaysians who are working or doing other things overseas, not including students. So you can see that 1 million out of 15, well, I mean 1 million out of 11 really, if you think about it, how many people are actually registered. If we could get 1 million people the right to vote, then we would really increase the electorate by nearly 10%. Of that number, a substantial proportion are within flying range of Malaysia, but you can see that nearly half are. There's no chance any of them could ever afford to fly back to Malaysia for the elections. And just the idea that you could have hundreds of thousands of Malaysians boarding a plane to vote on one day is just would be impossible. Even if people could afford it, we just wouldn't have the airplanes or the ships to take everyone back. Naturally, there's quite a large number of the subjects of the brain drain living outside Malaysia, people who Malaysia desperately wants and needs, but has no hold over, no link to, insofar as they no longer are able to participate in the politics and the running of their own country. And I think Malaysia is really out of sync with the rest of the world in not allowing its citizens overseas to vote. We've heard of how the Philippines embassies in KL, the Indonesian embassy in KL, all make arrangements for their citizens to vote, and yet we have nearly 1 million Malaysians outside Malaysia who just have no way of voting at all. The Constitution actually says that all Malaysians over 21 who are resident in a constituency or are registered as absent voters are eligible to vote. So the concept of an absent voter is enshrined within the Constitution. Naturally, it's one of those things that the Constitution doesn't try to define and regulate in detail, but it's something that it leaves to the law and to the Election Commission to make regulations. And the relevant regulations are the 2002 regulations made by the Election Commission. You can see that basically the people who can register as absent voters are anyone serving in the military. It doesn't even have to be a Malaysian military. You can be serving the UK Armed Forces and you'd be eligible to register. You could be a member of either the federal or state public services, so if you're a civil servant, posted to the UK or to Australia or wherever, you can register as an absent voter. And then you also have full-time university or higher education college students outside Malaya, Sabah or Sarawak. This is probably quite a big, probably the biggest group. There are estimated to be about 50,000 Malaysians at any time studying overseas. A lot of those will be under 21, but we reckon about 40% will be postgraduate students who will be eligible to vote. So we're looking at about well over 20,000 students who are eligible and could register to vote. But we'll talk about that more. And we have spouses of any of the above, so if you're married to any of the above, you're covered. But we'll talk about the role of the embassies and high commissions and why this has been a problem in getting even students registered, even though they're eligible to register. Just to cover why what our litigation campaign will be based on. Basically, Article 8 of the Constitution is the right to equality. in effect, what that says is that even though Parliament or the Election Commission have the power to draw up the rules and to make laws, they can't draw it up on an arbitrary basis. So, for example, they can't say you can only register if you're above 5'6", or you can only register if you're under 20 kilos. There has to be some rational, reasonable nexus to the regulation and the purpose. So any discrimination must be proportionate and based on reasonable grounds. In our view, clearly the whole idea of allowing, for example, students and government employees to register as absent voters, but not people working in the private sector, retired people, people who are unemployed or sick, it's just it's not supportable by and indefensible in light of Article 8. All you should have to do to register as an absent voter is just to fill in Form A. We have a few here, and it's basically all you should have to do is fill in this form, have it witnessed by another Malaysian citizen, and then post it to the registrar or assistant registrar of your parliamentary or state constituency. And the high commissions and embassies are supposed to help in this by acting as witnesses and by supplying forms and by helping people register. Unfortunately, the role of the high commissions and embassies has been really more to confuse people and to obstruct Malaysians than anything else. We've had lots and lots of stories of people bringing up the high commissions and being told that no, you can't register because only government employees and government scholars can register. I mean, you can see here, this is from the Malaysian High Commission website in London. They say individuals studying full-time abroad only if they're sponsored by the government. Now, I don't know where they got that from. We've seen the 2002 regulations doesn't stipulate that at all. That's just something they've invented. So not only are they drawing up arbitrary and discriminatory regulations, they're not even enforcing the regulations that they've drawn up. So that's really what we're up against. This is actually quite good in that they actually say they're actually putting out information. Loads of people who've contacted us have said that they tried bringing up the high commissions in Canberra or the high commission in London, and they're constantly told, oh no, we don't have any information, or you can't register. Some of them are just act as if it's the first time anyone has asked them this question. And these are people whose jobs it is to look after Malaysians overseas. So this is really the problem. The last time I called the Malaysian High Commission, I was told that they had no up-to-date forms and no up-to-date information because the Election Commission hadn't given them anything. So would I please just contact the Election Commission in KL? We did try contacting them a few weeks ago, but we've as yet had absolutely no response. But we will follow that up because, as you'll see in a later slide, I think the registration of students at this point is a big campaign goal for us, and it's really fundamental to what we're doing.